Welcome back to another episode of the Top Attorneys of North America podcast. Today's guest is a great one. Attorney Reynaldo A. Martinez, founder of Ram Law and Title PLLC, a full-service law firm and title company based in Coral Gables, Florida. A first-generation American raised in Miami, Ray has built a career defined by grit, innovation, and a client-first philosophy. With over a decade of experience, he represents both businesses and individuals across a wide range of areas, from criminal proceedings, personal injury, contract and transactional work, real estate, estate planning, and civil litigation. Ray is also known as the lawyer's lawyer, often being called upon by other firms to litigate complex cases. Known for his out-of-the-box legal thinking and commitment to personalized client service, Ray is also a lawyer who doesn't just practice law, he builds solutions. Ray, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. It's our honor to have you. I always like to start each interview from the beginning. Number one, where does your family descend from, and what inspired you to become an attorney in the first place?
So my father's from the Dominican Republic. He moved to the United States when he was 15 or so. My mother was born in New York City of Cuban refugee parents who were fleeing the Cuban dictatorship. And my parents say that they knew I was going to be a lawyer since I was about 3 years old. I was one of those people that I chose to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer. It intrigued me. It fascinated me. I was in speech and debate in high school. I was the Florida State champion in 2006. I qualified and ended up 18th at nationals. It was something that I just knew I wanted to do. And I went straight from high school to undergrad, from undergrad to law school, no semesters off, and went straight through and got to where I wanted to be, which was practicing law.
Excellent, excellent. Now, my wife is an immigrant. My mother is a first generation immigrant, so I understand the philosophy. Now you, as a first generation American, and I believe you're the first in your family to earn a university degree, correct?
Like, yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
first one in my family to earn a college degree or university degree.
excellent. How did that shape your drive and perspective in the legal field?
I think that it helps me realize that not everybody has the same opportunities as you may, or it helps me realize that some people are dealt a hand in which they can be very hard workers. They could be people who are dedicated to what they do, but because they haven't had the opportunity or the economic situation or the connections to people that could help lead them out of their situation, that they weren't able to do more than what they did, even though they wanted to and they had the talent to. And so I'm one of those people who really thinks about the little man. I'm somebody who really believes that the system is a system that we have. It's broken, but we as attorneys have a very, very, very strong obligation to try to lift people up and try to help them when they're at their worst.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you told me right in the beginning that from birth you knew they knew you were going to be an attorney. uh,
Yes, they,
was there a defining moment early on in your career when you knew that you were on the right path and this was the right one for you?
it's funny. I think that it's probably before I even became a lawyer. While I was in law school, I had the honor to give oral argument before the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces. I was in a military justice class, and Professor Carpenter was able to get me into the actual court as pro. I was pro hoc vitae, and I was an amicus of the court, and I gave oral argument before the Court of Appeals for Armed Forces, which is in the military. That is the court right before the Supreme Court. So it is the highest court in their uh, in their legal system. And I did it. I wrote the argument. I did the the oral argument before the court. I was able to without having been an attorney and without having the experience, answer a hot bench who was deciding somebody's freedom. And directly after, I had very high level persons in the military asking me whether I was going to be a JAG officer and whether I was interested in being a JAG officer, and that I can do many good things in the military. And I realized at that moment, I think I'm on the right track. This being in the courtroom is what I'm born to do, and
Yeah,
it's what I love best.
awesome. Law school, that moment just solidified it for you.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Excellent. Let me ask you, because I know obviously hard work has been instilled on you at an early age, and I know you attended the evening program at FIU Law
That's right.
while working full time.
That's right.
How did that experience prepare you for the realities of practicing law?
That's actually a great question, because I think that it had a lot to do with it. So I was fortunate enough that FIU had an evening program and they allowed students to work full time, and I needed it to be able to pay my bills. I, unlike other students in other situations, didn't have somebody to pay my law school degree or to pay my bills, and so I needed to make sure that I was up in time to work. I was there at school. I was paying attention, and then that I scheduled myself the appropriate time to study. I gave up a lot of things in my life during those times, a lot of birthdays missed, a lot of family gatherings missed. But I had the goal in mind, and it was, if I get this done, I'll never have to miss those things again. Um, and so I think that it helped me also realize that scheduling was so important because you had to schedule things, including sleep, at the appropriate times. Because if you don't, you can't be successful. And so I was able to do it even during the Florida bar. When I was studying for the Florida bar, I was still working. Most people take that time completely off, and I passed the bar on my first time, on my first try, but only after many days of sitting in a room by myself thinking, man, this is tough. But if I keep going, I know I'll be fine. And here we are, a decade later.
Yeah, love it, love it. And in my research, I also noticed that you were selected as your class commencement speaker.
Yes, yeah. So I was not the valedictorian. However, I was the person that the my class voted and elected to give the presentation. So I gave the commencement speech for my graduation, which was a great honor. I really enjoyed that.
What message did you share? Does it still resonate with you today?
Very much so, very much so. My message was, we kind of already gone over it a little bit. My message was, we now have a license, and that license comes with an obligation. Uh, you know, in the commencement speech, I spoke about Brown v. Board of Education and how Charles Hamilton Houston, he had to work hard and push and find the right case in order to overturn Plessy v. Ferguson. And in order to do that, we have to dedicate ourselves. We have to find the cause we believe in, whatever that cause is. And we need to make sure that we are the ones pushing for it, because if we don't, no one will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I know out of law school, in our pre-interview, you told me that you did work for a couple of other firms, um, and then eventually you did establish Ram Law. What was the vision? What was the motivation behind launching Ram Law and Title?
Okay, yeah. So I started my career at one firm, MSP Recovery, and it was a class action federal litigation firm where everything that we did was in the millions and sometimes billions. There was a lot on the line all the time. But at the same time, I wanted to build my own firm because I didn't like working with the insurance companies. I wanted to get work directly with the people and the business owners. And so about a year ago, I went all in on my own firm, and I focused on helping my clients through high stakes situations. Although it's not millions and billions that's on the line for them, it's criminal charges, it's business disputes, it's serious injuries, it's family issues. And at the end of the day, my goal is to give clients clarity and to protect them when it matters most.
Yes, sir. And in listening to you speak, uh, you're a very likable guy. So I have to imagine, you get a lot of word of mouth referrals, and your firm emphasizes personalized attention, tailored legal solutions. How do you ensure that doesn't get lost as you grow?
I believe that what happens when you grow is not that you get more and more separate, that you don't get more separation from your clients. I believe that what happens is you need more staff to do the things that you don't need to do, because I believe that when an attorney believes he or she needs to do something, they do it. And I believe that staying in communication with my clients is something I need to do. There's other things that don't need to be done by me, and that's where the growth is. That's where the staff comes in. So I
Yeah.
believe that's why people, they will decide that it isn't that important to have personal communication. Well, if you don't prioritize it, you won't. But in my firm, we will always prioritize it.
Yes, sir. Are you bilingual as well?
I am, yeah, English and Spanish.
Yes, sir. And I know you describe your approach as out of the box legal thinking. What does that actually look like in practice?
But I don't just read contracts. I've litigated them and know what happens when they fall apart. I don't just think about what may happen. I've been in courtrooms and seen what happens. And because of that, I'm able to early on help my clients avoid problems. When you start a case, before you ever get to the courtroom, many cases are won. It's about preparation and it's about work. And I always go into my cases with that mentality. I'm not thinking about what the other side is going to do. I think about what we can do to push our side further.
Excellent. And I know your firm covers a wide range of services, as I alluded to in my introduction: um, contract law, real estate, title work, estate planning, family law, business lit, uh, criminal cases as well. Uh, do you have a particular area that you like better than others? And how do you maintain depth across so many disciplines?
So that's a good question. What I have the most experience in is contracts, transactional work, because both while I was working at MSP and I was doing the federal litigation based on Medicare contracts, I was doing transactional work at Ram Law. I represent many breweries and small businesses in South Florida. And so I was able to do that on nights and weekends, and it didn't interfere with what I was doing at the first firm that I was working at. So that's what I have the most experience in. I enjoy it because I now understand contracts. I understand what clauses need to be there, what pitfalls are in them, and I kind of look at them as a puzzle. But if you ask me what I like the best,
Hmm.
I personally enjoy criminal defense. I believe that criminal defense is one of the most important things that we can offer the people of our country. The public defenders are great. I know many of them. They're great lawyers. They work hard, but they don't have the resources. They don't have the time. And we have the ability to give those resources in time. And I believe that there are many situations in this country where people need someone like me to really listen, to really look at the facts, to really see whether the state could prove its case. And if it can't, the person should not be put in jail. And I believe that those are the highest stakes. I've represented and won cases that got judgments over, or class action settlements over $100 million. But that is not worth more than the life of a single person who the state should not have been able to put in jail, but has gone to jail.
Yeah, passion. I love it. I love it. And you mentioned MSP recovering. Um, you've been involved in class actions described as first of their kind.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me a little bit about that, and what makes those cases so complex.
So I was the head of litigation at MSP Recovery. MSP stands for Medicare Secondary Payer. It was named after the act. And those cases were cases that had never been litigated before. What my firm was doing was we were intending to make the insurance companies pay back as primary the money that Medicare was paying on behalf of their insureds. And so what's happening is a little lady goes to the hospital. She gets in a car accident, but when she gets to the hospital, she doesn't give her car insurance card. She gives her Medicare card. So Medicare fronts the bill. But for instance, in the state of Florida, the first $10,000 of medical bills should have been covered by PIP insurance. And so Geico, Allstate, whatever, fill in the blank, they are responsible for that money, but they don't pay it. Medicare does. And so it was our job to file class actions on behalf of the Medicare companies and the Medicare trust against the insurance companies for all of the persons that that had Medicare funds depleted on their behalf, while the insurance put their head in the sand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How do you prepare differently when you know a case could have national impact like that?
It's all preparation. The law is the law. What we need to do is work on how we can, through contracts, prove that the other side had a duty and that they didn't fulfill that duty. And so there's no real difference in the way that you prepare for the case other than case size and load. But just like in the class actions that I used to practice, I take all of the evidence and I take all of the data that I get from my clients and I analyze them page by page, word by word, to see if anything of importance is there, because that's the kind of attention that wins cases.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Obviously, you have a lot of experience. For our younger attorneys that do listen in, I know that your firm puts a strong emphasis on treating clients like people. And in listening to you, obviously, I could feel the passion. They're not just cases. How do you build that level of trust? What advice would you give to younger attorneys coming up that want to establish that same type of atmosphere, that same type of climate?
Yeah, I think I don't build barriers between me and my clients. I have built my entire practice on being your lawyer, and therefore you have access to me. Not my staff, not email, not set an appointment for next week. You have access to me if you need me. And although that's kind of taboo in our practice, right? People don't like that direct access. I actually find it to be the opposite. I find that when you don't build barriers between you and your client, it makes them feel comfortable, and there's a level of respect that they do not want to violate because I've given them the access and they don't take advantage of it.
Yeah, understood. I mean, this is a world where, many firms, it feels transactional. There's not that human touch anymore. So I definitely appreciate that. And, it's obvious you've done well. You had a lot of success. But personally, what does winning look like for you? Is it always about the outcome or also about the client experience?
I think that it's both. I think that the outcome is important because I can't be successful if my clients never get the outcome that they want. And that's part of the client experience. Part of the client experience is not only the ride to the end, it's getting to an outcome that they approve of. You don't always get what you want, but you have to get something that you agree with or that you accept. And so part of what I do is make sure that my clients understand what are the possible outcomes, manage expectations, open communication. So when we get to the end, there aren't surprises. They knew this was a possibility, and hopefully it goes our way, but they won't be surprised or not have known that this was a possible outcome. So I think that the experience is the ride along the way, but the outcome is part of the experience, because if my clients only got losses, I probably wouldn't have many clients.
Yeah, that's for sure. Understood. And in the beginning, when I made the introduction, I described you as the lawyer's lawyer, where other firms take you on and you know bring you in for complex cases. How important is collaboration in modern legal practice?
I frankly, I believe that it is my duty to my client to give it the best or give them the best representation possible. And not everybody has the same skill sets. I have attorney friends that are legal geniuses. They're writers beyond belief, but they don't feel comfortable in the courtroom. If they were to not collaborate and go to the courtroom and not be able to present their ideas in a way in which they can give their client the best outcome, the best representation, then they probably shouldn't be doing it. And so I tend to believe that what these attorneys are doing when they call me is not being afraid. They're not being lazy. What they're doing is saying, I know that you have a particular set of skills that I've seen in action, that I've known from the national class actions, that I think would do the best for my client. And therefore, I want to bring you in as somebody that can give my client something that I don't feel as strongly that I can do. So I think that it's great. In fact, if I had an appeal, I wouldn't write it myself. I could. I know what it should be on the paper, but I have attorney friends that are much better writers than me, and they should do it because that's what's in the best interest of my client.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely like that. Did you have a mentor, someone that you tapped on the shoulder for advice?
Yeah, while I was growing at that other firm, uh, Alfred Armis, he owns the law firm here in Miami. He was somebody that I depended on a lot. He helped me um, learn when you should litigate, when you should fight. Not everything's a fight. You have to know when to negotiate. You have to know when to let things go. Uh, he also taught me very important things about aggressive litigation, right? There, as long as it's within the bounds of the Florida bar rules and you're not doing things in order just to harass, there is no such thing as too much pressure. Pressure busts pipes, and we're here to bust pipes.
Yes, sir. Obviously, and I said earlier, you're very eloquent, very easy to get along with. Are you passing on that knowledge as well? Are you helping to mentor some of the up and coming attorneys also?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't had the opportunity to really mentor any specific lawsuit. And that's actually something that I'd be very interested in doing. I have though been working with other law firms, as we've mentioned, but I've been working with other law firms and within their law firm, helping with litigation strategy, strategies that I learned at the national level that help even at this scale. And in most situations, they are much more effective at this scale because the firms that you're dealing with are much smaller in scale and have much less resources to combat those strategies. And so I'm always happy to share whatever knowledge I can. But right now, it's usually been with other lawyers, local lawyers that are in my position.
I gotcha. Are you utilizing AI or any of the advanced technologies as well?
Yeah, of course. I think that we have to grow as technology grows, right? We can't be the people that were before the internet saying the internet was going to ruin everything. We have to move with punches. I think that AI, you have to be very careful because AI is not something you could depend on to do your work. AI is only there to help supplement your work. It's up to help organize. It helps draft emails, right? It saves time. And what does saving time do? It saves my client money on hourly clients. So if I said no, I didn't use I think that I wouldn't be giving the best experience to my client because what takes me 10 minutes in organization with AI may take me 30 minutes. And if I'm billing per hour, that's not fair to my client. So I use, Clio as my, I'm not, this is not a sponsored endorsed, but I use Clio and Clio has Clio AI. And it helps. There's no doubt about it. And I think that every lawyer should be doing it. And if you're not comfortable with it, every lawyer should be taking seminars or classes because it makes you a better litigator. It makes you more efficient. It makes you more effective.
Yeah, 100% agree. I asked a good friend of mine, successful executive for a cell phone company, well known, and the question of AI, the topic of AI came up, and I asked, "Do you think that we're really going to be replaced by AI?" And he gave me the best answer. I don't think that you will be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by somebody that knows how to utilize and take advantage of the power of AI.
I
And I
totally,
wanted to ask that question because you're one of the younger attorneys that I've spoken with recently, and from the time you entered to where we are now, the legal industry has evolved tremendously.
oh,
So I know,
definitely.
yeah, so I know you have your finger on the pulse. Where do you see the legal industry evolving over the next 5 to 10 years, especially for guys like you, boutique firms?
I think that our staffs will stay small. I think that commercial real estate becomes obsolete. Uh, People work remote. People that know how to use AI become more effective than having 10 people in an office. One person that knows AI well can do the same work. And I believe that we will continue, at least in Miami-Dade County, all hearings that are not evidentiary hearings or trials are done through Zoom. And I believe that that was one of the best things that happened after COVID, because once again, if I don't have to worry about portal to portal traffic going downtown to sit in a 5 minute calendar call when I could just log in and log off, that becomes much better for the client. It becomes a better experience for the lawyer, and the judges could handle it themselves very well as well. Now, the judges, there was a learning curve for a lot of judges because some of them aren't as technologically savvy, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now that they've learned it, I don't know why anybody would ever want to go back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and you're absolutely right with commercial real estate becoming obsolete. I mean, on my block here, I see it. I see the empty storefronts. I see the empty offices, and I I foresee that becoming the norm
Mhm.
over the next 5 to 10 years. And I want to touch on something as well because you've been recognized, um, not only by your clients, but there's been formal recognition. You receive multiple recognitions for excellence in civil litigation and healthcare law. What do those honors mean to you personally?
I think that the best thing that I get from being recognized is that my clients that don't know me could come in with some confidence that I'm competent. If they don't know me, those recognitions help me tell them I know what I'm doing. But then I have to prove it, and then I have to show it. And that's my job. But I think that it helps me realize that I've done a good job showing that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And beyond awards, what impact are you most proud of in your career so far?
Just today, I got I left criminal court and I got a not guilty, uh, stay no action. So my client was beside himself, happy. His mother was crying. Um, those are things that every day make me feel like I'm doing the right thing and I'm on the right track. I had a client who was a victim of a hate crime, and I sued um, the company uh, that is a ride share. I have to be careful how I tell story. So there was a ride share, and he was a victim of a hate crime, and um, I made sure that they were held accountable, and that he will never not remember the fear and the personal injury that he suffered, but he felt vindicated in the end. And little moments like that are moments that make me feel like I'm keeping my promise. And what I told everybody at my commencement speech, that we have to pick where we help and who we help. But when we do it, we have to do it all the way.
Are you involved with community organizations? Do you give back also?
So I was on the board of a nonprofit. I'm not currently. I do pro bono work. I have multiple cases that I do pro bono for. Florida bar requires it, but that's mostly how I give. I take cases of people that are referred to me that cannot afford my representation, and I'll take the case pro bono, and I'll take it all the way.
Yes,
And
sir.
I treat it just the way that my high paying clients do.
How do you balance that high level litigation work with running a growing firm? I know you said delegation earlier, the utilization of AI, but what does it really take?
It takes discipline. It takes good calendaring. It takes early mornings and late nights, but it takes perseverance and it takes will, right? Because it's easy to just start letting the calendar go. I know I've practiced against several attorneys that I can't get a hold of. There's deadlines coming up and it's impossible. And I won't be that attorney. I will not allow my practice to become that practice. And the only way that you can do that is organization and making sure that it's a priority, that when people reach out, whether it's a client, whether it's opposing counsel, you get back to them because you want them to do the same to you. So, not to invoke the golden rule, right? But it's honestly just the truth. You want to make sure that opposing counsel gets back to you when there's a deadline and you need an extension. Well, you better do it for them. It's professional courtesy. Your client is calling and they're overwhelmed with an issue. Well, it's my job to make it manageable. If a client calls me, it's my job to take something that's overwhelming and help them understand it. That's what I do. And it's whether it's a contract or whether it's decisions within the family, my job is to let my clients understand what it is that they're looking at, what are the potential outcomes, what are the potential risks, and how we can get to the best outcome according to what their needs are. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. And that started with you early on. I mean, balancing work life, going to school, you know, you were just thrust into that, and that you needed that discipline, otherwise you wouldn't be where you are right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I couldn't if I wasn't very balanced with my schedule. I could have never finished because there was just too much. There's always more. There's always more, and you have to figure out is that a today problem or is that a tomorrow problem? You have to get good at figuring that out.
what's on the horizon for you? Local politics? I mean, you're so well spoken. I mean, where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Um, I hope that I have grown my firm into a position where I could only take cases that I truly want, and hopefully get into more pro bono cases, maybe death penalty cases, cases where I could dedicate all of my time, but my firm has grown to a place where that time doesn't affect my ability to earn a living and to raise a family. So that's that's my goal, to be able to do so well that I can stop taking cases and start picking cases.
Yeah. Do you have a family, you said?
I'm engaged. I'm engaged to be married. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so we're starting a family.
Good luck on that. No,
Thank you very much.
congratul congratulations. What do you do to decompress? I mean, you're always on the go. You're always, running. You're always, obviously, you're working hard. What do you do for yourself?
I travel whenever I'm not working. I travel. I used to tell people all the time, I only work so I could travel. If travel was free, I would never come back. Uh, and so me and my fiance love to travel the world together, and that is my number one uh, most peaceful times is when I could just disconnect and be immersed in another culture with other people, um, and learning from living in other places, right? That's my dream. My dream is to have my firm grow and to not have to be anywhere, right? I could be anywhere and everywhere. That's the goal. That's the dream.
I love it. So that would be like your legacy that you'd want to leave.
Yeah, yeah. And as for politics, um, maybe I've been asked before if that's something I was interested in, or to be a judge, and yeah, these are things that right now I have my head down and I'm grinding because we're going forward and we're growing. But you know, I still have time to make those kind of decisions. Right now, it's grow time.
Yeah, that's why I said it. I see it. I definitely see it. So, for our listeners, you heard it here first. So, let me just ask you, what's one piece of advice you would give to a young attorney or a law student listening in right now that maybe you wish someone gave you early on, or maybe that someone did give you early on?
10 years from now, law students or early lawyers, nobody's going to care what law school you went to. Nobody's going to care what your rank was. The only thing that matters is how good you are and how you make people feel. If you do those two things well, you'll make it to the top. The people that graduated cum laude at Harvard, but they make everybody feel that they're unapproachable, those people won't make it. They'll work at big firms, but they will never make it as far as you can make it if you make people feel good in your presence and you're good at your job. So stop worrying about status. Stop worrying about that. Now, I'm not saying to get bad grades. You need to be able to pass, right? But the idea is don't worry so much about where you graduate or what grades you're getting, as long as you're passing, because real growth and success is going to come after, when you get real clients, and they're not going to ask you what rank you were in law school.
Yeah, excellent advice. Excellent. I love it. For our listeners interested in reaching out to ask more questions or retain your services, what's the best way to do so? Phone number, email, website?
Yeah, so I have a website, ramlawandtitle.com, and then my email is rmartinez@ramlawandtitle.com. And that way we can schedule a calendar call, because schedules are important, and I will get with you directly.
Perfect. I'll make sure that I highlight the website, your email for our listeners. And I have to say, Ray, this has been a powerful conversation. I love your passion. I definitely see local politics. I definitely see, judge as well. And I love the fact that obviously, you came from humble beginnings as a first generation American, working hard, hustling every day throughout school. And now you've built an extraordinary, dynamic, client-focused law firm, leading high-level litigation teams. Bottom line, your journey is a testament to what's possible when preparation meets purpose. I really love your commitment to innovation, your personalized service and real world. And Ray, I really have to thank you for sharing your story with us.
No, it was a pleasure to be here. Honestly, this was fantastic. You're a great interviewer, by the way.
I love it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for listening to the Top Attorneys podcast. The Top Attorneys celebrates the achievements of leading attorneys across the nation. To be featured, send a message or visit www.topattorneys.us.